Garret over here. Another episode of the Detroit City Sportscast awaits. It is currently at the time of recording this a little after, it's 8:16 p.m. Eastern to be exact, on Monday, the May 13th in the year of our Lord 2024. And once again, like sometimes in these episodes, it came out of the blue because Detroit sports can throw some curveballs at us, and these are the curveballs that we love in most cases. Before we get into the curveball and why the hell we're recording tonight, Adam, how are you tonight?
I'm doing good. I guess we probably should have recorded anyway, because we did do an episode last week, didn't we? I know we did
We didn't do one. We did a Tunnel Talk 451, which highly recommend our Detroit City Sicko faithful. If you haven't checked that out, it's been a big week for Les Rouges. Not going to talk about it completely so much in this one. Let's save it. We'll do a deep tease, but City's triumph in the Open Cup last week over Houston Dynamo, in the MLS, reigning Open Cup champions, coming from behind, by a 2-goal deficit, and then falling again, winning in penalties. Our reserve keeper winning in penalties. Then John Glazer promoting that city name for the rest of the United States to see that, leading to maybe the greatest video view-wise I think I might have ever done so far. I think lost count of where that fucking thing's at now. But I also I feel bad for those that are in charge of Detroit City merchandise online, because holy shit. Let's
we've got a lot of city content coming up the pipeline here this week. So yeah, stay tuned for 451, which is recording. It sounds like tomorrow night.
Yep.
And then it sounds like we got a Make City Make Spats coming later on in the week as well. So,
and we recorded a Tunnel Talk from last week right after the Open Cup triumph. Highly check that out, especially longtime listeners of the show. We've gotten some changing of the guards in a way. So shout out to our buddy Sean Red Novak, on there too, as we, are continuing in the next wave of the channel, and then go for there. We'll highlight briefly what happened after for the Meluju's men and women in the post game, but let's start off first half tonight. We're going to do the half format like we did in the last full episode. We got to start with the Detroit Lions. Earlier today, there was some leak talks coming around in the schedule-wise. The schedule is, I haven't sure if the NFL has officially announced it yet, but it looks like Wednesday, May 15th, so 2 days from now, is the NFL schedule reveal for the 2024 season. We already know that in certain games, the Packers-Eagles is going to be the Friday night of that year in Sao Paulo, although I don't think either of them can wear green because they're playing where Corinthians are at, and Palmeiras is their eternal rival who wear green. So, nice job, NFL.
You're sitting here talking about Brazilian soccer mixed in with NFL football.
Yep.
Something's wrong with you. Go ahead.
Well, but that tells you. I don't know if you heard that. That's how fucked up it is. But tied into that, the brief talk is this: the Lions are apparently in line to get 5 primetime games, and potentially.
Let's get to the meat of this, though. Let's get to the meat. Why are we talking Lions right now? We can talk schedule here in a second. Why are we talking Lions, Garret?
Because then a little bit after that, Adam Schefter dropped a tweet. And not just, your random, this trade speculation. He decided to drop the fucking hammer, which was this. And I'm going to shout it out. I don't want to give our buddy Dennis credit on a lot of things, but he did drop this in our Sicko group chat. Adam Schefter's tweet: another done deal in Detroit. The Detroit Lions are signing quarterback Jared Goff to a 4-year, $212 billion contract extension that includes $170 million guaranteed, sources tell ESPN. Goff now goes from former number 1 overall pick to the highest paid Lion in franchise history, the third and the last of the key re-signings that needed to be done in the offseason that started off with Amon-Ra St. Brown and Penei Sewell just before the draft. Adam, it's done. It's wrapped up. How are you feeling about this, especially with the money that's come out of it?
Well, I mean, it had to get done. You have to lock up. You had to lock up Jared Goff. for a couple of reasons. Because he's proven himself as a guy that can not only get you to the NFC Championship game, he's a guy that can get you to the Super Bowl as well. He's been to the Super Bowl before with the Rams, and he should have gone to the Super Bowl this past season. Jared Goff isn't the reason why they didn't go to the Super Bowl this past year. Josh Reynolds catches those balls. Lions are probably in the Super Bowl, and who knows what happens in that rematch against Kansas City. They already beat Kansas City earlier on in the season. Who knows what happens in the Super Bowl with the Lions in there instead of San Francisco. Second reason is there is no replacement out there that is going to get you, that is going to improve what you already do on the field from an offensive side, on the offensive side of the ball. You weren't going out there and you weren't going to get Kirk Cousins. You weren't going to somehow make some miraculous trade for Lamar Jackson. None of that was going to happen. You didn't have a top 10 pick to go and get any one of those quarterbacks. Not that you necessarily wanted any of those quarterbacks. Sure. Caleb Williams is the hotness this year, and Chicago did what they had to do to go out and get a guy like Caleb Williams. However, we saw the run on quarterbacks in that first round within the top 15 picks. There's no way that all of those quarterbacks are going to make it and make that transition in the NFL. It's not going to happen. There's no guarantees that Caleb Wilson is even going to be Justin Fields in his career.
Wilson's with Fields.
Oh yeah, sorry. Caleb, yeah. There's no guarantee that's going to happen. And the Lions have taken steps so they don't necessarily have to worry about that. They don't need to worry about a quarterback for the next 4 years, which is what their window is now. Yep. Lions have 4 years to win a Super Bowl, which is the goal now. It's the goal this year. It's the goal next year. It's the goal the year after that. Mm-hmm. That's what the Lions need to do. They need to go out. They need to at least get to the Super Bowl, because when you sign your quarterback to this type of money, that's the goal now. The goal is to get to the Super Bowl. Maybe not necessarily win the Super Bowl, but it is to get to the Super Bowl. And they can do that. They have a team right now that is as complete as it's going to get. You have Jared Goff signed for the next 4 years. You have your top wide receiver, Amon-Ra St. Brown, signed. Your top offensive lineman, the best offensive lineman in the league, Penei Sewell, signed. And you have a number of good rookies under contract too. Sam Laporta.
Aiden
Hutchinson. You
Brian
have
Branch,
Brian Branch, Jack Campbell, J-Mo. You have all these young rookies.
Yeah. So good.
All these good young rookies under rookie deals right now, where it's there for you. We haven't even
talked about the ones that we drafted too.
No,
Terry and Arnold, Rackstraw,
exactly.
Manu.
No, this is the position that you want yourself in moving forward from here. You have a few high-priced veterans signed to deals, big-time deals. Fine, that's what happens in the NFL. And then you have your good rookies. You have a GM that can go and get you good rookies under rookie deals. And that's exactly what they have right now. The Lions are ready to go out there and they're ready to take care of business. And they're right where they should be moving forward from here. There's really nothing to be disappointed about. The only thing you may be disappointed about with any of this is that the Lions didn't get Jared Goff signed to that extension last year. That's right. The only thing, because the money is something that you are going to have to dish out anyway, because that's what good teams do. Players give the Lions that opportunity to offer that deal and have the player sign it. Because what used to happen before when you had guys like Barry, when you had Kelvin, when you had Ndamukong Suh, they no longer wanted to be here anymore. You can sure as hell bet if this same Lions team that had this type of success was around when Barry was still playing, or when Calvin was still playing, or when Ndamukong Suh was, ready for that next contract, they would probably still be around. And one other thing, I know people are probably worried about the money, potentially down about the money. Good teams don't worry about the money. They don't worry about the cap. The cap went up $13 million, I think, this past season. What is it going to do next season? It's probably going to go up. Good GMs, this is why you get good GMs. You get good GMs, yes, to sign good free agents, to make good draft picks, but you also get them to work the cap too.
Yep.
The cap is almost it's almost an I don't want to say an anomaly. It's almost a figment of your imagination, because good GMs don't worry about the cap.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say they circumvent it, but they work around it as best that they can to keep on getting players over to the team, into the system, so you can go to work.
I want to talk about a Mike Payton tweet from this evening, earlier this evening, because it does tie into people being concerned about the money. But I think people are going to be surprised at actually how well this deal is right now. Here's why I feel about that way, and it's a tease into his article that he wrote down for A2ZSports.com. Earlier this year, we had a projection that Goff would get an $190 million extension. He blew right past that. The big thing was that we projected that the Lions would save $13 million in cap space in 2024 because the extension would restructure and backload. That could be more now. So, Amon-Ra St. Brown, yeah, he got big money. That deal this year, not showing it. Not these type of things in there. It's going to kick in a couple of years. Penny, same thing. Goff, I haven't seen the year by year numbers, but you got to think it's going to be the same thing, because these guys know that they are on the verge of something incredibly special that maybe in our years, a couple of years ago, wouldn't think that was conceivable, maybe in our lifetimes. But now we are so fucking close to that people are all in. When you have two potential people that we were going to lose as head coaches to head coaching jobs, defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn, offensive coordinator Ben Johnson, come back because of unfinished business. You got your guys wrapped up, unfinished business. You basically forced the Lions have forced the hand of the Vikings and multiple teams with these type of deals that they get. They wrapped Amon-Ra St. Brown up before the Eagles landed A.J. Brown up. These type of deals that Penny, all these type of deals that you're doing have to unfortunately influence things. I just saw something now where the Cowboys may not be able to keep Dak now that Goff's got this money to highlight basically what this means in terms of the deal. Some more Schefter tweets in here, because we had some discussion amongst our circles. The $170 million guarantee from Jared Goff puts him in sixth in terms of the most money that is guaranteed. And let me find that here. I had the tweet up on there, and let's see here. Damn it, where is it? But he's the second highest in the per year basis is Jared Goff, behind Joe Burrow, who had $55 million. Ahead of Justin Herbert, 52.5, Lamar Jackson, 52, Jalen Hurts, 51. Schefter saying about the guarantee is the sixth most in terms of the guaranteed money. And I think that is behind, where is it here? I swear I saw this earlier on here. But I think he was behind Jalen Hurts, who had fifth in terms of the most guaranteed money. The Lions also did a tweet here. So that's $444 million in over $444 million in contract extension this offseason. Goff's 4 years at $212. Amon-Ra St. Deal's deal 4 years and $120 million. Penny's deal at 4 year $112. Goff has the most guaranteed at $170. Penny had 85. And then Amon-Ra had a little over, somewhere in the 70s. So I think this is the business that you're going to need. And especially when you look at the NFL in this day as well, there's more games, there's more things, marketing and everything like that. And, I don't think the Lions are going to be really hurting for cash considering that all season tickets have sold out again this year. Second year in a row that's done that. Also, a tweet by the Lions this evening, 8 p.m. Wednesday, May 15th. There looks to be a little thin with a film roll. And then I swear I just saw something great from the Lions on here. I did not want to look at an Alex Cutter tweet who's liking some of our content. There we go. Somebody, I think, quote tweeted, as long as Fanatics doesn't spoil it. NFL schedule things. So the Lions were talked about. The Detroit Times Twitter account tweeted that it's been talked that the Lions may have up to 5 primetime games this year. Looks like they were going away on there to open the year, either Dallas or San Francisco. I'm seeing some news now. The NFL posted 3 hours ago. We're not going to have to go to Dallas because Tom Brady's broadcasting debut. I can't believe they wrote a fucking article about this, but doesn't surprise me. Cowboys are at the Browns in week 1. That's Tom Brady's broadcast. So 8 p.m. Wednesday night, though, is going to be the schedule reveal. So if I were to take a guess, is if we're away in week 1, just go back to where the season ended. Make it right. Or I also heard rumblings that we might have Rams Lions on a Monday night. I think Matt Derry talked about that. He heard rumblings in the uniform reveal, if that's whether week 1 or down the line. I don't know. How are you feeling when you hear something about the fact that, Adam, like, we got 5 primetime games potentially in line for 5 this season?
I mean, it's fun. I don't blame the NFL for wanting to do something like that. I mean, that's the smart thing to do. The Lions are one of the hottest teams last year in the NFL, and they're going to be one of the hotter teams this year in the NFL. And they delivered last year. This wasn't like Lions teams of old, where you give them the opportunity on the big stage, and in the prime time, and they, lay an egg.
Yeah,
that wasn't the case. I mean, the Lions were incredibly exciting all year long, from the very first game of the season, literally the very first game of the season, to that NFC Championship game.
Yep.
And of course, the NFL is going to want to capitalize on that. They have, the Lions have one of the most exciting head coaches in all of football. They have one of the best young coordinators in Ben Johnson. They have a very, very good coordinator in Aaron Glenn. Yeah, they have, one of the most dynamic offenses in the NFL. And they have a retooled defense, especially in the secondary, that is going to be much more improved, and this team should be much, more exciting than what they were last year. So yeah, I mean, it's something you expect, that you would have a team like the Lions have a bunch of primetime games again this year. And yeah, I mean, the rumor is now that they're going to start it on the road, and teams they could face that they're thinking right now, maybe San Francisco, maybe Dallas. So,
but if Dallas is going to Cleveland, then if we're going to be away and we're going to be at night, then that's going to be it's either, to me, we'll be on the road to San Francisco, or technically Santa Clara, or I would not be surprised if it's Rams Lions at Ford Field Monday night. Just because, my God, that ticket would be it. Oh God.
I think it's probably going to be on the road. It sounds like it's probably going to be in Santa Clara against the 49ers. Rematch of that NFC Championship game.
So that would be either a Sunday. My guess would be either a Sunday night or a Monday night, because we know Thursday night the Chiefs are going to be at home because of the reigning champs. We know Friday is Packers Eagles, as we talked about in Brazil. 2 teams that wear green can't wear green because of the how passionate Brazilian soccer fans hate opposing teams that wear green. So there's your international soccer knowledge. For those that wonder why, maybe we'll get our buddy Jaime Ventura from Channel 451 to further analyze why this type of thing happens in sports. But I think it's going to be everything exciting. Do we want to? And I think my thought on it when you're talking about why I think the schedule in this is the NFL, like a lot of people in here, love a good story. They see a good story and they want to promote that good story as much as possible and everything like that. We've seen it over the years with Kansas City, especially when Patrick Mahomes was drafted and they got into everything. Obviously, Tom Brady the last 2 decades, the Manning brothers, all these things. But with the Lions, you have the Lions now that have seemed to all of a sudden show people that they are for real or want to be as real as possible. Not just winning 1 playoff game, winning 2 playoff games, and being a half away from making it 3 and going to the big dance for the first time in almost 70 years. To then showing up and showing out at the NFL draft in a way that hasn't been seen yet, and absolutely then raising the bar for the next places to go. Green Bay next year and everyone down the line. That's a testament to now, like, the league realizes, I don't want to say they realize they're on a gold mine, but they realize that something really special is here. And not just on the field when you have a character in Dan Campbell. Brad Holmes is a character as a GM. And it's like when you got a draft room wearing black and blue 89s, including Sheila, on the 3rd match day. That's some vibes right there. That's some intention. So we'll know more. The schedule's going to drop Wednesday night, 8 o'clock. Molding down the field either Wednesday night or Thursday. Let's be honest, they'll probably drop on Thursday at some point. We'll talk, give a brief thing, and we'll save a big breakdown for another episode. What do you? But I think we've covered a good amount. Am I missing anything for our first half?
No, I think we covered it all.
So as you can tell, forward down the field, Detroit Lions fans. Golf wrapped up. Let's fucking go. We're going to take a breather. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about the Detroit Tigers the last couple of weeks. Should we be concerned? Is it just part of the season? We'll talk about that. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Second half of tonight's Detroit City Sportscast. As you can tell, we were really fired up about Lions news that came out today and what we're about to see and what we think it's about to be. We were obviously still feeling a high buzz over Detroit City's triumphs last week. But now we got to talk about something that's not really been giving us much joy these last week and a half. And unfortunately, as what's taken place in between us going from first half to second half, our beloved Detroit Tigers. So when we last recorded, the Tigers were playing game 2 of a 3-game series against the St. Louis Cardinals. Tigers won that game in the doubleheader, took the game the next day. I think Kenta Maeda's first win as a Tiger. However, then 3 games in Yankee Stadium happened, which was a 3-game loss. Tigers had a 1-0 lead going into the bottom 9. Couldn't keep it. Lost 2-1. Second game, lost 5-3, and then a Tarek Skubal, considering rainy conditions, fell behind 2-0. He struck out 12 and 6. The Tigers tied it and then gave up 3 runs, and then the game ended with a rainout and a Yankees 5-2 win. Moving forward today, 3 games in Cleveland early last week to start things off. Another Jack Flaherty great pitching performance. Riley Green solo shotted. That was the only run scored. Cleveland wins 2-1. Tuesday night, Tigers start off really well. Unfortunately, Kenta Maeda got roughed the fuck up on the mound. 7-5. However, the bullpen went 7 innings scoreless. Andy Ibanez had 2 home runs that night, 4 for 4. Ryan Velarde, his first hit in the major leagues, a 3 RBI night. Tigers win 11-7. Second consecutive Tuesday that they scored 11 runs in a game. Wild. However, Wednesday, fell behind 2-0, had a fielding error in that moment, scored 4 runs, jumped out, gave us a chance, made us think we were going to take the series. A fielding error in I believe it was the 8th inning, allowed what made a Cleveland run to make it 4-3. Andrew Chafin gives up the solo shot in the 9th, goes to extra innings. Cleveland wins the game, wins the series 5-4. Then our last series, 3 games against the Houston Astros, the debut of the City Connect uniforms.
Bleh.
Yeah, Adam's not as enthused. I mean, I'm not really even enthused, but Adam's even less enthused than I was. For more about that, see the our special video we posted on the Majors TV YouTube, which was thoughts on City Connect, because my City Connect hat arrived. At least the hat's okay. But the Tigers had a 2-0 lead. Another Jack Flaherty start. I don't know what him and Olsen can't catch a break. Bullpen got rattled, got roughed up. Houston wins game 1. Another Tarek Skubal win. It was an 8-2 on Saturday. Kerry Carpenter went yard. And then yesterday, a rough day. Justin Verlander comes back home, pitches a great game. The Tigers lead, the bases loaded. Late in the game, 2-0 down. Houston had a big inning after that. Only bright side about the 9-3 loss yesterday is that Spencer Torkelson got his first home run. Fast forward to tonight. What's currently happening right now, we're in the bottom of the 8th inning here at Comerica. Tigers are playing the Miami Marlins, first of a 3-game series, jumped up to a 3-0 lead. Unfortunately, Matt Manning gave up 3, and then the Marlins just hit a 2-run shot in the previous half inning. So it has been a rough 9, about to be 10 games for the Tigers. Adam, is it as rough as the wins, losses are showing? Is it not as bad, or is it worse? How are you feeling?
It's something that you could have foreseen coming, because what did AJ Hinch say a few weeks ago when they were winning games? Is that the way that they were winning wasn't sustainable. They
Yep.
were winning comeback. They had a lot of comeback wins, which is fine, but you can't depend on that given the marathon that is an MLB season.
Right.
And it's coming back to bite them in the ass now. They have 3 wins in the month of May. It is May 13th. 3 wins during that whole time. Also, during the month so far, they've had 6 games where they've scored 3 or fewer runs.
Yep.
So that it's not going to cut it. It's not going to cut it. And they are losing right now against a god awful Marlins team, and they
Mm-hmm.
dropped a series against a god awful Houston Astros team.
Yep.
Given how the Central is better than what we thought it was going to be, you
Especially
have to
Minnesota
be.
lately. Goddamn.
Yeah, you have to win these series against teams who are perceivingly lower than you, below you as far as talent and skill goes. They had to win that series against the Astros. Now, if they lose tonight, which you got a man on second now with 1 out in the bottom of the 8th,
Still Perez once
you
again.
have to go and win the next 2 games in this series to beat the Marlins. You can't let this series get away from you. You can't. Not at this point in the season, because all of a sudden we're about halfway through May now. And we're getting to a point in the season where Scott Harrison and that Tigers front office, they're going to have to make some decisions here on which direction they want to go in, for the rest of this year. Yes, it's still early, but we're also getting into a point of the season right now where you got to start thinking about, these next few months and which way you want to go. They need offense. yes, Torque, finally hit a home run the other day or yesterday. But the question still remains: does he need to get sent down? Does he need to get sent down and get things right for himself?
I think the problem with Torque is because he had so many home runs last year. We think he's got the power thing, and it's not like he's being absolute completely ass. I think he's in the lead or the top of the 2 or 3 in the AL in doubles. But when you're like that, but you're also hitting 2 1/4, and on there, and you hit 30 dings last year, where's it coming from? If he's hitting maybe 250, and like what Canna's doing and Green's doing, and having the league in doubles, I'm not that concerned. But it's almost half of his hits are doubles. If not, they're not doubles and they're singles. But that's a problem when you expect him to be your power.
Yeah, that's not going to get the job done, because the problem here is that guys in front of him still aren't getting on base to get any production. So he's got to be hitting home runs. There's no excuses for him to have only 1 home run this season.
The concerning thing about that 2-7 run we just
5-4 now.
Okay, so I just put full screen on the standings view, so I'll keep that there because we just scored a run. Of the 2-7, we've lost 3 games by 1 run that we were up in. The first game of the Yankees series, and 2 of the 3 against the Guardians. We blew a lead. Granted, it was very early in the game. The second game of the Yankees series, another game where we had a lead, 2-0 lead, and we blew it late. Game 1 of the Houston series. So that's 5 games right there. That's 5 games out of those 9 that went the other way because of we're putting too much on there, and then potentially tonight. You have a Minnesota Twins team that is 7-3 in their last 10, but didn't they because they're 24-16 now, but they were at one point 8-12 or 8-13. Let me bring up their schedule here because it shows you how baseball ebbs and flows. The Twins had, after getting rocked by us 6-1 in the final game of the 3 in the series, and they went 9-0 for the rest of April, and then decided that wasn't good enough, and then won another 3 games. They ripped off another thing. They're 7-3 in their last 10, but they ripped off 12 in a row. And now they're in second place at 24-16. A half a game behind a Guardians team that's 25-16, especially when we gifted the Guardians 1 game for sure in game 3. Definitely maybe the first game because we didn't, once again, bring our runners home. The Royals are not going away. The Royals almost have half their win total already from last year. They won 56 games last year. They're already 25-17. Yeah, we're 20-20. And you know what? Yeah, we're better now at this record than we were last year when we won 78 games and we weren't ever over 500. But when you don't take advantage of your opportunities in the sport, other teams might take advantage. And that's happened now.
And we're also counting on a division that was going to be not as good as what it is right now.
Is it the strongest in the AL right now, maybe? It's up there with the East.
Yeah, you can make an argument for it, and that doesn't bode well when you aren't winning, when you aren't beating these teams who you should be beating.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned, you should have beat the Astros, and you should be beating the Marlins right now. It's going to be incredibly disappointing if the Tigers drop this opening game of this series. And yes, there are ebbs and flows. It is a long year. Shit happens. A lot of shit happens throughout the season, but like AJ Hinch said a couple of weeks ago, and I'm paraphrasing now, but he was alluding to what seemingly was some potentially big problems for this team later on down the road based on how they were winning before. So, Tigers just took a lead. Oh, guess who just homered? Torque bomb.
Hey, so you know what? Reverse therapy is fucking working. We're gonna keep going about this. Here's why.
Should we still keep? Are we still gonna keep talking shit?
Yeah, because I want to, and here's why I'm thinking about this. We won so many. Give me your thoughts. I really want your opinion on this. We had so many close games earlier in the year where we had to come from behind and the bullpen had to pull, basically turn fucking sand into a diamond, right?
Mm-hmm.
Enough times. And now they've struggled a bit. Dare I say is it wrong for me to not really be mad about that because of how much pressure they had to go through? Eventually you're going to have a situation where you break down and you're not as on it because of how hard you fucking went early in the stretch.
Yeah, but again, it's their problems right now are problems that weren't addressed in the offseason. And
Right.
it's the offense. Again,
Yeah.
like I mentioned, this team has had 6 different games in the month of May where they were scoring 3 or fewer runs.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not going to cut it. That's not going to cut it on most nights.
Yep.
And I don't know if this was a Scott Harris thing or a Chris Illich thing, but if we continue to go out, and yes, okay, Torque has 2 home runs now in the season. Big home run tonight. If the Tigers manage to hold on and win this game, that's awesome. Hopefully that's something that Torque can continue to build on from here on out.
We're
But
fucking back. But yeah.
but again, the what we've seen so far this year is is just a frustrating reality to how this offseason went, and whether or not Chris Illich is actually serious about helping put together, financing a winning baseball team in this city. Because what we've seen so far hasn't been the case. Because what was always the excuse before? It was, oh, we need to get all these contracts off the books. Then it was, well, we need to get Miguel Cabrera off the books. They're all gone now. So what's the excuse now? Why didn't we go out and get a big time bat this off season?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Well, here's another thing too. You spent what was our big money move? Kenta Maeda. Big money, air quote, because again, baseball, millions of dollars is like monopoly money in Major League Baseball. Kenta Maeda, who's unfortunately dealing with a major bout of illness, he is going to have to get a rehab start. That meant Matt Manning came up from Toledo and started today. Kenta Maeda's 1-1, ERA 6.75. He had his best start was against St. Louis, but then he got absolutely fucking rocked last week. Tarek Skubal is pitching like the Cy Young award-winning thing.
Tarek Skubal's great.
5-0.
Tarek Skubal's great.
ERA 2.02, 49 innings pitched, 60 strikeouts, 0.86 whip. Batters are batting 189. You want to know who the next 2 in wins are? Tyler Holden, 3-0 in your relief. Shelby Miller, 3-4 in your relief. Who Shelby Miller also has a quick recovery. He had to go to the 15-day IL retroactive to May 12th due to ulnar nerve inflammation. That maybe explains why he was also a little bit rocky in the last couple of games. But Casey Mize, 1-1, ERA 3.58, so he's keeping you in ball games. Matt Manning, 0-1, 4.37. He's had 4 starts going into the game. These are the 2 that I absolutely feel for. Jack Flaherty has started 8 games. He has struck out 63 in 48 innings. Absolute filthy power stuff, painting corners, being a fucking nuisance to batters. 105 whiff, 0-3. We can't hang on to a lead. And if you think that's bad, Reese Olson, ERA 2.52, 39 innings pitched, 29 hits allowed. 35 strikeouts, 1.12 whiff. Batters are batting 206 against him. 0-4. We only have given him 7 runs to fucking work with in 7 starts.
Yep.
Our arms are giving us a shot.
That's part of what AJ Hinch was talking about a few weeks ago. And not only that, I mean, you can kind of see why Matt Manning was left down to start the season.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's a long year, but like I just said, I mean, we're coming up to a that first critical point in the
Mm-hmm.
season, and that is, which direction is this team going to go? Um, as you begin to look at that midway point and begin to look at the beginning of that second half of the year.
Yeah.
So
it's one of those things. It's one of those things where you see all this stuff in there, and I feel like it's literally like what we saw Andrew Chafin, which granted, Andrew Chafin gave up a tying shot last week in Cleveland, but he was also undealt because one of Reese Olson's runs early in the game was an error that went into the fucking outfield. And then the run that made it 4-3 the inning before was a strike him out, throw him out attempt that sailed in the fucking center field. That tie-in shot was basically taking advantage of a wind breeze, similar to what Adam and I see at Keyworth Stadium every Saturday so far this fucking year. And you literally just see Chafin yell, how the... Like, you can't say we're sorry for editing. You feel for the guy in that moment.
mm-hmm.
But it's one of those things where I feel like now here's my part of my thing. I hope this is a quick top half of the inning because I feel like we have to. This is as close to a live watch as you're ever really going to fucking get on this podcast because we're not going to definitely do it for a Detroit City game because we're either going to be there or we're going to be in there. You're definitely not going to do it for the Lions because Adam is like Gollum and doesn't want to be around sunlight when the fucking Lions game's on.
I can't do Lions live.
I might do a Red Wings game. Friends of mine have been on the phone with me as we have come back from 3-1 down in a third period against Montreal in the penultimate game of the season. Shout out Jackie, you're a real one. Dion too. Jason Foley gets the first guy out here. We're 1 down. We got 2 to go. We're gonna fucking do this, folks. So like, I mean, that's the thing. Like, and I'm not gonna grind completely on our arms. Like, because I think that's the thing. This is some of the best pitching, even in the years where we had a starting 5 rotation that was out of this fucking world. We had this is some of the best pitching as a team I've ever seen us have in my lifetime. When you look at the potential of the arms, and night in and night out, Maeda aside for the most part, other than a couple of the things, but you can see why we brought him in. It gives you a shot. The bats just have to be consistent. Like Matt Vierling. I'll give him credit. Matt Vierling's been great. Vencel Perez has been great. Eddie Abanya, since he's come back, great. Got some power in there. But hopefully this is a good run for Torque. Colt Keefe seems to have tweaked his swing a little bit, starting to make some good contact. I think once he gets one out of the yard, he might really start to really get going. Like he's fighting that Mendoza line a little bit right now. Rogers is getting a little bit going, but I feel like our bats and the catcher is weak because I love Carson Kelly. Carson Kelly's got a great arm, and I get why you put Carson Kelly for a fielding, but you're losing. I mean, Carson Kelly's also one that's not batting 200. Any news on how Parker Meadows is doing in Toledo? Because he did go down since we last recorded, which I think he needed to get some swings.
I'm not sure right now.
Foley with a strikeout, 2 down. We got 1 to go here. So I feel like this is like we struck lightning now. We struck magic. Now we have to really, really go with it. Okay, since we're stalling time, because y'all got to see any of you somewhere, I think we're in the 50s or 60 views or whatever it is on City Connect talk when I unbox the hat. You haven't heard Adam talking about it on video stuff. So I knew you didn't have many good expectations about it going into it, and especially like, we've talked about uniform stuff in that. Now that a couple games have played, is it out of all the City Connects that have come out is this year 4 for Major League Baseball? Year 4 of City Connects, I think. 2021, I think, was the first year. Worst of the bunch completely yet? Did it somehow even go lower than your expectations, or do you think this was exactly what you were expecting and it's meh?
Are you talking for the Tigers or for this crop of City Connects?
Tigers. Tigers in general, in connection with the rest of the City Connects across the league so far.
When you look at some of these alternates, well, you look at some of these alternates in more recent history, with these two Illich-based teams.
Foley with a ground out, Tigers win.
Okay. Yep, I see that now. I was expecting to be disappointed with this one. And I was disappointed. And when you look at some of these other ones, when you look at teams doing excellent jobs on both ends of the spectrum when it came to sticking with something that was more traditional, like the Angels, who I thought had a really, really nice City Connect, to something that was a little bit more out of the box, but still fun and creative, like Tampa Bay.
San Diego too.
Yeah, San Diego was okay. I just thought the Tigers missed a golden opportunity to hit on either one of those angles. They could have gone the traditional route that the Angels went. They didn't do it. They could have gone a complete out of the box creative route like the Rays. They didn't do that. They did something that was seemingly lazy and just doesn't work. It didn't work. It doesn't work. It's boring. It's underwhelming. It's not creative. And it's one of those things where I think you're going to look at here in the next couple of years. You're going to have most fans say, my God, what the fuck were they thinking when they came out with those?
Touchy subject for some, because some people are torn either way. Would it have been better if we had orange in it?
Yeah, I think it would have been better if there was some orange in it, and I'm thinking we probably should have gone with the white pants too. Even though I know why they went with the dark pants, because they want to they're probably thinking they want to wear these on the road, and you can't do that if you are if you can't wear the white pants on the road. But again, yeah, go with an orange. Go with a top that is going to work, both with white pants, dark pants, gray pants, whatever. So you can wear it in both, in both locations, whether that's on the road or at home. It's just something they, mind the baseball pun, forgive the baseball pun. It's something they swung and missed on, and it's something that isn't out of the ordinary with these City Connect jerseys. I mean, we've seen our fair share of shitty ones. We've seen our fair share of good ones. We've seen our fair share of ones that just kind of, fall in the middle. That Cleveland one that came out today, that's one that just kind of falls in the middle.
I haven't seen that one. Let me take a look at that.
Yeah, there's nothing special about it. Is it better than the one the Tigers came out with? Yeah, it is.
Oh,
Is it something that blows away, that blows your mind away, like the Rays or the Angels? No.
the Braves one was also a good one too, because they use that classic '70s Atlanta colors and Braves colors on that. I'm catching back because I had the full screen of MLB up, so I saw the Ibanez hit that made it 5-4. So now I got the Vierling at bat on there. But yeah, I mean, I'm one of those because I realize this when it comes to orange, you have San Francisco Giants shade of orange. You have the New York Mets shade of orange. Our orange is very close to red. In a way. I feel like for a team that I'm becoming much like I've become, I'm going to have a renaissance with Navy this last year. And maybe granted, it probably has something to do with getting a little bit older and, realizing the varieties of Navy and the fact that our dear club, soccer club, we love and often bitch
CD
at.
doesn't wear blue. Oh wait, we're talking about the Tigers. Never mind.
What's up, Regan? How you doing, buddy? But yeah, no, it's one of those things where it's like I'm also feeling that way a bit towards the orange, and I feel like we're a Tiger thing. Why not throw like, and maybe that's also room for an alternate where we do it all white, but we have fucking orange and like a tiger stripe pattern or something like that in it, or you bring back the tiger head on a uni like you did in the 1920s. That the Detroit baseball cats. One of those type things. Maybe you do that. Like, I get the idea for, we have some of the most classic uniforms in the game. I think we ought to maybe add some more orange piping to the away grays, like we're in 1984 again, because we're in the 40th anniversary of the last Tigers World Series team. Team that had the best record here, as I'm seeing this Torkelson at bat right now. And Molinato's a lanky motherfucker too. I'm looking at this right now, and the situation. It's patient on a 1-0. So Torkelson's had a bad reputation for sliders and swinging and missing at sliders. Maldonado throws him that slider on 1-0 at the edge on the outside part of the plate. Torque waits on it. So what does he do on 1-1? Oh, he gives him a slider low and he swings. So, okay, he knew he was going to bite at that one. All right. Ironically, Torque was batting .293 against breaking balls, .083 off speed, 195 fastballs. So what does he throw him here? Oh, slider right over the plate. Bye-bye. That was pretty. This Tigers team's 21-20 now. They must have knew we were talking shit about them. They decided to go nuts. Well done, guys. Do it again. Win the series, please. It's the Marlins you're playing, for fuck's sake.
Sweep them now. Sweep them. You took that first game. Sweep them.
Let me look at who we got, who our mound guys are for the series, because we had Scooble on Saturday. Okay, I don't want to buy tickets for tomorrow. Website, stop it. There we go. What's the thing here? I'll go to ESPN because MLB wants me to buy tickets, and I don't want to fucking do that right now. I think we're not back to Flaherty again. I don't think. I think we're probably got Olsen. I think we got Olsen. My guess is Olsen and Mize. Let's see here, schedule. Click on that. So we have tomorrow 6:40 pitch Ryan Weathers versus Reese Olsen. And then Wednesday, a 110 tilt Trevor Rogers versus Casey Mize. Marlins are now 11-32. I thought the White Sox were bad. The White Sox do have the second worst. Also, Colorado Rockies 12-28. Ouchie. So yeah, that's it for the Tigers this weekend after their 3-game series at home versus the Marlins. We were talking about orange. We go back on the road. Let me see here who we got. We are off on Thursday, but then we're playing the Diamondbacks on a Friday through Sunday. And then I think we play Kansas. Yeah, we got Kansas City. A Monday through Wednesday. We have a Thursday game as well. We're then home for 4 games against the Toronto Blue Jays. So, plenty of opportunities. 21-20. Maybe we roll these last 2 weeks and make up for what's happened. Maybe we don't. Join us on this ride. We might do some more. I think this is the second or third or fourth time we've recorded live during the Tigers game. So that is about it on there. We are going to did you have any closing thoughts at all, Adam? Or
Nope. I'm all set.
So we're going to take one more break. We're going to come back. So the second half's done. We'll do a brief post-match stuff to give you an idea as to what's ahead. And yeah. In the meantime, stay tuned and get your drink of water. We'll be back. Adam over there, Garret over here. We talked Lions first half. You went through the trials and tribulations of the many experiences one feels as Tigers fans, especially when they blow a lead, then score 3 in the 8th with a torque home run to get a come from behind win. To quote our brother from another mother, Yowdy, torque is so back. Yeah, that's definitely getting a retweet from my personal on that. So now that we have there, we're going to do a couple brief tidbits over a couple things. We'll start with Detroit City. You obviously heard us rave to a small extent about the Open Cup triumph over the Houston Dynamo last week. Adam, I think you and I have talked about, is this maybe the most important thing that's happened for the club in terms of the growth of the club and what it means for potentially the future of the club in terms of getting it to more than just the diehards and those that have already found its way towards the club?
Yeah, and I'm going to kind of save some of this for tomorrow night because we got a 451 coming on.
All right.
Recording tomorrow and coming out later in the week, and we got a Make City Make Spence coming out Thursday. Yes, this is the biggest win in club history, I think, without a doubt. And like I said the other night too, last week, this is one of those types of wins that is groundbreaking in a sense when it comes to the sport in general. Because what I was talking about last week, that this wasn't one of those wins where it wasn't like a Lions winning playoff game type of win. It wasn't even a win where the Red Wings winning the Stanley Cup. It was a win that was maybe the most important win for the sport itself, because the Lions last year winning 2 playoff games wasn't earth-shattering or groundbreaking for the NFL. It was a win just for Detroit. When the Red Wings won those Stanley Cups, that was a win just for Detroit. It wasn't something that was going to change the NHL. Wins like this, what we saw with Detroit City last Tuesday, those are wins that if they continue to happen, they change the sport and they change this club. You get a 2-for-1 deal in that. So yeah, it was a massive win, and it was a win that, and I'm not being hyperbolic about it. It was a win that is going to I think potentially change the landscape or help change the landscape of soccer in the United States.
Yep. When you look at the fact that not only Detroit City were the first side to beat an MLS top MLS team in U.S. Open Cup this year. New Mexico did it one night later, defeating Real Salt Lake in their home thing. So shout out to all those in the lab and everything on there. I think they had 11,000 or whatever that was in that game. So or good at 10. I know they had a big number over the weekend, but it'll be very interesting now. And I look at far as the traffic and, John Glazer coming on the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon and, repping City literally from head to toe.
And then throwing out, giving a shout out to the Open Cup. I mean, what?
And for all of those, and for all of the going to a league and trying to self-censor itself, then throwing double birds, take that with your self-censorship, folks.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't only the biggest game in city history; it may have been the biggest week in Detroit City history.
Maybe the most important thing for an Open Cup result, and probably the one thing that MLS and maybe Don Garber didn't want to happened.
Oh no, absolutely not. They do not want a celebrity decked out literally, like you said, head to toe in gear, repping a lower league soccer team, going on network television, the late night show, giving double birds to your fucking league, and talking about the Open Cup. That's not what Garber wants.
Nope. And you know what? Tough shit. So men had a brief thing here. Next match they had was on Saturday against the pause because I actually went to do a view check on here and I actually clicked the video thing. It was your video from the majors about Julian Edelman reacting to that Matt Patricia offense that I almost clicked on. The basically 1-1 draw to happen Saturday afternoon against the defending USL champion Phoenix Rising. Ben Morris with a wonder strike on there. We're going to grill the shit out of Jaime Ventura tomorrow on 451 Tunnel Talk. There's your teaser for tomorrow, folks. Rising, though, I mean, Rising are a talented team. They made a couple good adjustments, brought in some people, good quick goal. Shout out to Owen Evans, who we had the pleasure of chatting with for. I know you and I both had the pleasure of chatting with him. Comes in and covers Phoenix sports. Great chatting with him on there, and talking soccer.
Yeah, good dude. Good dude.
So the women briefly opened up their season in W League on Saturday. 1-0 win over Flint City.
Massive win. Massive win. Talk about big wins this week for City. That's one that's not getting talked about enough. That was a huge win. Saturday night in Flint for the Detroit City women.
And to give you an idea right now, apparently it's early days in the views on here. Nowhere near the view count so far as the Open Cup recap, but it's already a little bit more for the women than the men. So great job, the all people, for checking that out. Both of those recaps are on our Majors TV YouTube channel. We'll get into greater detail about the women, unless you had anything real quick, Adam.
No, I just had a question for you. You know how many times Flint lost in the regular season last year?
None, if I recall correctly. Maybe once.
That's right. None. They lost to the Indy 11, the eventual champions in the playoffs.
Got bulldozed by Indy 11. So, but if you haven't gone back and seen the goal for the women's game, it's on our recap from that posted from my kitchen Saturday night. Clubs in the retest. Shout out to everybody. Lily, considering how we're going to get into greater detail, we talked a little bit about it and Make City Makes Sense about this women's side. We'll talk about it. We're definitely talking about it in Tunnel Talk, especially this next Make City Makes Sense, because Sean had the pleasure of being at Atwood for the women's match on Saturday night. I can't wait to get his take on it, especially ahead of the home opener Saturday night. The men are off this weekend, which they're probably thanking the lucky stars for.
They need it. They need it.
Their next game is 9 days from tonight, Wednesday, May 22nd, U.S. Open Cup round of 16, a team that they've already gone to and defeated before in Indy 11. 7 o'clock Eastern, Wednesday, May 22nd. I don't know if it's at Carroll Track and Field or Butler.
I think it's. I already heard it's going to be at Carroll. That's what I've been hearing. I don't think it's going to be at Butler.
So
I kind of wish it was going to be at Butler.
So we'll talk maybe a little bit more about it in Make City Makes Sense, but this is a game where Indy 11 happened to be in our same league, but it shows that I think it's going to be a good game of a supporter base of showing how it can be done and versus supporter base that what they want to do and how those reverse polarities and everything. And I think it's going to be almost more entertaining than the match itself. And then the men don't have another match until the following Wednesday, the 29th, where they return to league play. And then the hell starts. And we'll talk about that later on. Anything?
Fuck you, MLS. Fuck you, MLS versus fuck us, MLS.
Yep. One of the best tweets from NGS Detroit in a while. If you want to check out more NGS content for Adam and our dear friends in there, go on to noonelikes.us. Did I nail that URL right?
Yeah.
I got it. So where there's some cool merch, new stuff on there. Especially, I got a cool shirt that's coming to me relatively soon especially for our future wrestling when we branch out into wrestling talk. So not in this one because otherwise we'll be here all fucking night. But yeah, that's it for now. That's my good teasers on that. The next thing I want to briefly talk about, congratulations to the Michigan Panthers. Another win over the weekend and results benefit their favor. The Michigan Panthers are in the UFL playoffs. So great job to the Panthers. You have anything on them?
No, good job for them. Yeah, hopefully you can make something of it. Maybe bring home their second championship, I guess. And even though this isn't the same franchise that was around in the 80s,
They won in
I
'84
guess,
too, right? Yeah, two wins.
yeah,
83 or 84
yep.
they won.
Yeah, one of those years. Bobby Aber quarterbacking the team at that time, who later went on to quarterback for the New Orleans Saints.
Yep, Anthony Carter, former U of M standout wide receiver too. So shout out to them. Now, talk about some unfortunate lottery news for both teams that were in the lottery. The Detroit Red Wings. There's talks that the draft picks were leaked on the board from John Buccigross's tweet that got deleted. Some were saying that it was basically a dry run to go through everything. Either way, the Red Wings did not make any. No one made really any movements in their picks. The Red Wings have the 15th pick in this NHL draft that's taking place next month in Las Vegas. Only other things really are involving players at the World Championships going on. Alex Lyons, unfortunately, back home due to an injury he suffered. I know Trey Augustine's with the squad. I think Dylan Larkin's still there. Derek Lalonde's on the coaching staff. Lucas Raymond's playing for Sweden, and I think he scored from what I saw yesterday.
Scored on Alex Lyon. He scored on Alex Lyon.
Womp, womp, womp. So, yeah, other than that, I think it's really entertaining playoffs. It makes me really excited for next year.
It just sucks. It just sucks the way, it should have gone down. I wasn't expecting the Wings to do any movement. Nor should they have moved at all. They should have been right where they were, basically, in this year's draft. Yeah, as fans, you wish they moved up. But when they should have gotten the first overall pick, and when things should have fallen like they should have, they didn't when the Red Wings were up there.
Yep.
So I fucking hate it. I hate the lottery. I understand why they do it, but it still doesn't make a whole lot of sense especially with the NBA side of things, which we might as well just get into right now. Pistons, the worst record in the NBA, worst record in franchise history. They got fifth overall this year, and they have the same fucking luck. Yeah.
Third straight year that they get the fifth pick. Yeah. So we talked about it in here. So the Detroit Pistons in the 21-22 season, the first year of Cade Cunningham, they went 23-59. They got the fifth over. So for that, I don't think they were the absolute worst team that year. But they were the next to worst team in the Eastern Conference, and they were probably had the third worst record in the NBA that season. They got the fifth pick in the draft. Granted, that was Jaden Ivey. I'll gladly take that on there. Next season, they go 17-65, worst record, worst overall record in the NBA, worst in the third worst in the franchise history, at 17-65. Fifth once again in a year that, well, granted, we drafted also Thompson, I think, with that fifth pick, but at the same time, it was painful because not only did San Antonio pick Victor Wembanyama, we also had to deal with our Detroit City midfielder, Maxi Rodriguez, who hails from San Antonio, Texas, basically rubbing it in our faces that he got Wemby and we got stuck to fifth. At least we beat San Antonio at Keyworth like 6 days later. What's up, Geezer? We miss you. So we go to 14-68 this year. We have the worst regular season run at one point of a losing streak. We win 14 games. Absolute ass, absolute trash. A bad season for the team off the court, and dare I say off of it with the lack of approach, intensity, and everything. Fifth. I almost laugh. I don't know if I'm angry. I don't think I'm angry really for getting fifth. I think I'm just laughing because it shows that suck to, be the worst for first isn't going to work.
Well, I mean, what's the? I mean, this year in particular, what's the point? And based and given where the Pistons are, what's the point? This isn't a very good draft class, so it doesn't really matter a
Right.
whole lot where you are. And also, given where the Pistons have drafted and um the makeup of the roster right now, what are they going to do? Are they going to go and draft another 19-year-old or 20-year-old to fill out a roster with a bunch of other 19-year-olds and 20-year-olds? No, that's not going to happen. That's the Pistons. The Pistons need veteran talent right now, and that's not something they're going to get by drafting fifth overall. What they need to do is they need to trade the pick. They need to get out of it. They need to trade that pick and maybe some other assets and try to get some good veteran talent on this team that's going to complement some of those younger pieces, whether it's a Cade Cunningham or Jaden Ivey or potentially Jalen Duren. So I mean, they're at a point right now where draft picks in a weak draft do them no good at all.
Nope. They actually started to build some good players with the trades that they made, a good supporting cast. How many of them stay in the offseason, we'll see. We're supposed to get a president of basketball operations. We'll get a deep dive in the Pistons talk for a standalone episode we've been teasing. We'll get in Yaudi's brother Matt in there. Look for that soon. Then we can fully branch into this and talk about this. Maybe use this as therapy in a way. Who knows? I do want to talk about this. Isn't a Detroit sports issue in terms locally, but this just came to my radar ahead of tonight's. I think it's Dallas and Colorado are playing tonight. This came off really hot off the presses at 9:30 p.m. Valerie Nichushkin, forward for Colorado Avalanche, has been placed in Stage 3 of the NHL Players Association's Player Assistance Program under the terms and being Stage 3, suspended without pay for a minimum of 6 months. I don't know what the issues we've seen. Obviously, there were some issues with Nichushkin last postseason in the series with Colorado. We've seen this before locally with us with Jacob Vrana, I believe, with Red Wings in the Player Assistance Program. So my thing that I just want to add, seeing something like this, is for anybody, whatever a situation is, if you're going through a difficult time or you're going through issues, addiction, anything like that, it's okay to ask for help. And sometimes the hardest thing to do may be the best thing to do. So I felt like seeing that gives a good time. Did you want to throw anything on that, Adam?
No, I think you did a good job with the mention of that.
Yeah, so that's all we got right now. While we're actually talking about some things and whether for good and that, you want to talk briefly about what's coming ahead, especially if you're in the supporter community of Detroit City, what's coming place in June and the work supporters are doing in the Detroit City community to benefit the Ruth Ellis Center.
Yeah, good call. I just wanted to pass along that the Pride Raiser campaign has started. It actually kicked off this past Saturday for that Detroit City Phoenix Rising match. And if you don't know what Pride Raiser is, it is a campaign that many different supporters groups from around the country take part in. And what they would do is they will support a local LGBTQ plus charity initiative in their community here in Detroit. It is the Ruth Ellis Center. And the Ruth Ellis Center does some very, very important work in supporting and caring for at-risk LGBTQ youth in the area. There's a bunch of different programs they run out of the center for that. So you can go and check out, in detail, everything that they do on the web. And basically what Pride Raiser is that You pledge a dollar amount. Go to Pride Raiser. I think it's prideraiser.org. Yep, prideraiser.org. You can find our campaign, the Detroit Pride Raiser Northern Guard Supporters Pride Raiser. And what you will do is you will pledge a dollar amount. And that dollar amount goes towards home goal totals for the month of June. So however many goals the men's and women's first teams score during the month of June. So if you pledge $8 and they end up scoring 10 goals, between the two
10.
teams, 8 times 10, you will pledge $80, and that money will go directly towards the Ruth Ellis Center and like I said, all the important work that they do. You can adjust your pledges, you can increase it, you can lower it throughout the month of June. Even now, you can start making your pledge. So like I said, get those in because it goes towards a very, very good cause. The Detroit Pride Raiser, the Northern Guard Pride Raiser, is the most successful Pride Raiser campaign in the country. We've raised the most money out of any Pride Raiser campaign in the country, and like I said, it's all of that money goes towards the Ruth Ellis Center and the great important work that they do for the LGBTQ kids in this, in the area. So again, go check it out. Get those pledges in, and we're kind of tinkering with some stuff right now, but you'll soon be able to make like one-time donations too that'll go towards the campaign. That's not quite up yet though. We're hoping to get that up and going this week though. But yeah, there's going to be a lot more cool stuff that we're going to announce in the next few weeks and into Pride Month of June. So yeah,
And it's also being
good
worked
stuff.
with not just with NGS but also Ally Financial is a big partner initiative, and I think are they doing their previous years they've matched whatever totals were donated through the Pride Raiser. Ally has done a contribution.
Yeah, I don't want to speak for Ally right now,
Right.
but yeah, they are.
They're heavily involved in there.
They're very, very heavily involved with it, and then same thing too with the club Detroit City FC. So obviously, there's a lot of support on that end as well. So, yeah, like I said, great initiative. It was founded by supporters. One of those supporters, Detroit City supporter, here in the area, helped establish everything as well. So there's some great local ties to it, and yeah, it's an incredible, just campaign. It really should get more recognition than it does, throughout the country, because it is such an amazing initiative and an amazing campaign that just supporters groups undertake to help raise money through something that we all generally love, soccer. So
Yep. And there's also going to be some cool stuff I think that you're going to see from the club also too that'll tie into that month on there without really.
Oh yeah, we've got some good stuff planned that hasn't been announced yet. So
yeah, so without really teasing and so forth like that, just it'll be very have fun. There's going to be 8 games between the men and the women this year from June 1st to June 26th, all at Keyworth, including a friend. This includes the friendly too, a big friendly. Liga MX side Pumas, June 22nd, 7 p.m. So there's 2 doubleheaders in June. We'll talk about all of that when that time comes, but we'll drop the links for people to check out where the ways to access everything in there. Obviously, we've talked about tonight. We'll talk about it obviously in Tunnel Talk.
Yeah, I'll drop the Pride Raiser link in the show notes once everything goes live.
Yeah, and if there's any questions with anything right there, feel free to reach out to our handle or one of us privately. Adam, where can people find you, either for that or just in gen?
You can find me at TMSNX Adam on Twitter, and you can get all the major stuff, majorsports.com. If you want anything, if you want the Detroit-centric stuff, Detroit.themajorsports.com. You can find us Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and over on YouTube, youtube.com/MajorsTV. Make sure you like, subscribe, and rate. Most important, all of our stuff, whether that's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever.
Yep.
Help us get move up in that algorithm.
Find me personally, Twitter, Instagram, Discord at GM Komatz. All the molding video series is, like mentioned, on the not only the Majors TV but Detroit City centric stuff at 451 Detroit. Shout out to everyone that's tuned in, checked out any of our videos, especially the post match recap from the U.S. Open Cup, which was kind of a surreal experience, our best video yet. So shout out to everybody for that. Truly appreciate it. Also want to give a shout out to our buds, JR, Justin, and Jared from Daily Detroit for joining us on the post-match recap from Saturday's game on there. Daily Detroit does some cool stuff that not just sports stuff, but also city of Detroit stuff in general, the surrounding area. Feel free to, check them out. Kudos and thanks to them, JR, always for joining on there. And, there's plenty of great things that are going to be coming up for 51. Adam's talked about Tunnel Talk that's being recorded. It should be tomorrow. That'll drop later in the week, as well as the next special Make City Make Spence with our brother Sean Spence. That's it for about now. We've covered the highs, the lows, everything in between, some of it all in the same night. Just another fun time in Detroit sports. What's going to happen next? We'll let you know when it happens. Adam over there, Garret over here. Good night, everybody, and have a great week.
See ya.